Armondo, hi, Jim Delapine here. A few things. First of all, watch your latenesses. Those late points can be very expensive. Okay, so yeah, I'm required to deduct points for that. So, you've got something interesting going on here that I thought was worthy to do this video for you. So first of all, you need to scale this up. This needs to fit within a certain area. So that being said, I'll show you how to scale it. So if I go to my layers panel and scroll down to the bottom left foot layer, select that, scroll up to the top to shift click the top layer, I'll have all these layers selected. Then I'm going to hit Control T to put a bounding box around all of those layers and all those selections. Then I'll take the middle registration mark, like right here, it's the center point, and I'll drag it up to the top. So now it'll scale from that point. If I go down to the bottom corner, click and start dragging, and then hold down, as I'm dragging, the Shift key to constrain the proportions, otherwise it'll do that. So the Shift key locks it in, and then the Alt key will scale it out from that center point. All right, so I'll come down to about maybe that far, and I'll hit Enter. Okay, so just remember, it needs to fit within a 6 by 8 inch area. Okay, so I'm going to approximate there. Okay, so let's take another look at this. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to take the celery, and I understand what you're doing about having the celery look like it's coming out of the can, and it's a great solution, so we're going to work with that. But remember, I had said no mirrored images, so you actually did that for both the donuts and the celery. So, but what we'll do is this. I see you have these on separate layers, so I'm going to drag this over to this point right here, okay? And then what I'm going to do is select this layer here. If I have the auto select checked, as soon as I click on these pixels here, it goes right to that layer. All right, so if I then go to my magic wand tool and click on the black inside that area, it puts a selection around all those black pixels. All right, so that now is going to protect that area. So if I zoom in now, right, and then I'm going to inverse it. So all the area, everything else but this area is selected. So Shift F7. Shift F7 now inverses the selection. So you can't see anything different, but it means that everything else but this area that I have selected is active. All right. So now I'll go to my Move tool and then click on the celery to go to that layer, which is not showing it to, it's probably this one right here. Okay. So now with the layer mask active, I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool. I'm going to make it 100% hardness. I'm going to make sure black is my foreground color, and then I'm going to click here to mask out that part, so it looks like it's going right up to that edge. Okay, I hope you saw that. So now what I'm going to do is Shift F7 again, Shift F7. So now just this is selected. Okay, so now when I paint, say I'm masking out this part. So let me undo that. I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to create a new layer. All right, so that's going to come above the arm. Then I'm going to go to my foreground color, click on that, and I get the color picker, and I'm going to select a medium to dark gray here and hit OK. So now what I'm going to do is paint with gray on this new layer I created using my paintbrush tool, and now I'll select 0% hardness. Okay, but now I want to increase my brush size. So if I hit my right bracket key, that's kind of under the backspace key, right, I'm going to get a fairly large brush. Now I'm going to paint with gray, all right, and it looks terrible now, but now what I'll do is change the blending mode to multiply. Okay, so now it multiplies the intensity of the pixels below, and that's a true shadow. Okay, so if I zoom back out, all right, so I want you to do that, okay? And then I'll repeat the same thing for this one. So I'm just going to move this here, and I'm also going to rotate it a little bit, Control T. If I drag the center point here, it'll rotate. I'll rotate it a little up here, and then move it up here, and I'll do it like this so it's more dramatic. Hit enter, zoom in with my move tool active and the auto select checked. I'm going to click on this background piece here, the hole in the can. All right, and now what I'll do is with that layer active, right, that's this layer here, I'm going to go back to my magic wand tool and click on the black of that layer, and that will select that. Okay, I'll inverse the selection, Shift F7. I'll go to my paintbrush tool. I'm already set up with the gray and actually I want to paint with black here. So I'm going to select the layer mask, right? So I'm selecting the layer mask, and now I'll mask out this portion. Whoops, let me undo that. I neglected to select the correct layer, the left arm layer. So I have to select this layer mask, and now when I paint here, it will mask that portion out. So it looks like it's going inside the can. Okay? Now I'm going to hit Shift F7 again to uninverse it. So now only that hole of the can is selected. And I'm going to create a new layer above this layer here by clicking on the new layer icon. And then I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool and paint with gray. You could actually change the blending mode to multiply beforehand, and then when you paint you get a more accurate representation. So I mean, you kind of have to be an artist here and imagine what it would look like. So I'm going to do a little bit here and then increase my brush size and then click in here. Okay, you want to stay away from it up here because this, see, it's against the selection, so you don't want that. But so anywhere down here, all right, and it looks a little more realistic. Okay, I'll deselect, and there you go. All right, so you have that. And I'm going to do one last thing, and that is to, this can is just resting on the donut, so let's have some fun with this. I'll take this donut, drag it down here, and I'll hit Control-T, rotate it a little bit, hit Enter. I'm going to select the celery stalk here, and I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to duplicate by hitting Control-J. As long as it's active, it will duplicate. I'll hide any one of them, and then I'll move this down here, and then what I can do is, let's see, there's a number of things you could do here. So what I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to select the layer mask and mask out with a hard selection. I'll mask out one of these areas here. Right, I just want to use a portion of this. Okay. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll take this and I'm going to use this. I'm going to make this a leg. All right. So I'll drag it down here, rotate it, and I'm going to rotate it right around the center point, and something like that, I guess. I mean, something like that could work. All right. But now it's a layering issue. So let's see. It's the right arm and this layer here. So it's the right arm I want to drag down. Okay, and now I want that donut to be, I want this to be below the donut, or the right foot as you call it. All right, so okay, so now what I'm going to do is Control click on the right arm layer mask. Okay, that creates a selection around the layer mask you created. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to the donut layer, which is the right foot, and I'm going to paint with black on the layer mask using my paintbrush, and that will hide whatever's in that selection to make it look like it's going through the donut hole. Okay, I'll deselect, and there you go, something like that. So see what you can do, have fun with this, do this to the other foot, and now if I select the background layer and I'll fill that with black, I note that you did a really good job on cutting out the images. The can looks a little funky, so what you would do is, if I select the can layer mask, I go to black as my paintbrush, make sure it's at 100% hardness, and if I click carefully here and shift click here, let's see, oops, it's not the, oh, I must have had a duplicate. There's two of them. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know why, but okay, so we'll do this one here. So if I click here, just the edge of the circle, and then shift click here, probably didn't do it enough. There, okay? So shift clicking creates a straight line. Okay? All right, so I hope that helped. Take care.